Good morning, Year 6. It's Friday, and our learning objective today is to use a range of sentence starters. Okay, so you've been working really hard this week. Just one more day left, and then you can have a little break over the weekend. Okay, so we're going to be looking at using a range of sentence starters today. So have a look at this sentence. I want you to think about how has it been started. Standing up steadily, the first race of men rose up, clearly unsure of where they were. So have a think, how does that sentence start? So you should have come up with the previous sentence started with a verb. It told us what they were doing, they were standing up. What I'd like you to do now is write your own sentence about one of your type of men and start it with either a verb or an adverb. Let's have a look at how this sentence is started. As a tidal wave of sadness crashed down on their land, removing the unwanted beings, Tepe and Gukuma's feelings changed. So have a look at that sentence. How does that sentence start? Just jot it down. This sentence starts, although both their plans didn't work, Gukuma's was now even more determined to build a successful being who would praise their names. So think carefully, there is something very similar with this sentence and the previous one. What do they both start with? So you should have realised that they both started with a subordinating conjunction. Okay? So remember, we have coordinating conjunctions which join two clauses, and we have subordinating conjunctions, okay? With a subordinating conjunction, remember it is a main clause and a subordinate one. The subordinate clause would not make sense on its own, okay? So here are some subordinating conjunctions which we would be able to use at the start of sentences. So we've got after, although, as, because. Because is a funny one. We wouldn't really use that at the start of a sentence. We'd use that more in the middle of a sentence. Before, if, since, until, and while. So all of those apart from because, we would use at the start of a sentence. Because we would use in the middle of a sentence. So now thinking about the previous two sentences, I would like you to write your own about one of your type of men, and I'd like you to start it with a conjunction. Okay, so use one from that list and start your sentence with a conjunction. So to make sure that we're varying our sentences and it's enjoyable for the reader and doesn't get boring, we need to think about starting our sentences in different ways. So here are a few different ways that you could start your sentences. So you could start it with the object or the person, the noun or pronoun. Okay, so you might start it with the men, Tepiu, the gods. Okay, so that's your subject. You might start it with a verb or an adverb, like we've practiced earlier in this session. You might use a fronted adverbial. You might tell me when or where something was happening. Or you might start it with a conjunction, like we've just practiced again. Okay, so really be thinking today about what different sentence starters could you use. We need to be seeing a variety of different ones. So today we're going to continue with our story and we're going to do the next part of our plan. So far you've planned the first 4 pictures, you've then written about the first 4 pictures. Now we're going to write about the next part. Okay, we need to make sure that we've planned it first so we've got lots of ideas to help us. Okay. So remember, when you're planning, you need to use the 3 different people that you have chosen. Okay, we've got a twist to our story, they're not all going to be the same. On your plan, okay, instead of just telling me what happened, I want you to think about using sentence starters, so jot them down. Also, any vocabulary that you're going to use today. When you're making notes about the events that are happening at each stage on your plan, please do this with bullet points, as this will help you to make notes rather than write the whole sentence. Last week some people were still writing full sentences. Your plan's just there to aid you to write, okay? So we don't need to have written the whole story on there. So you need to bullet point the events that happen at each point, jot down any sentence starters which could be used at each point, and any vocabulary that you could use at each point. So once you've finished your plan, I just want you to think about this list. Is there anything else that you could add on there? And we're thinking about how, when we're writing, could we make it more interesting? So you need to make sure you're using the fantastics. We pop 3 of them onto your planning sheet to remind you. You should definitely be talking about feelings, noticing, and checking what you can hear. Think about the verbs and adverbs that you've used. Conjunctions, okay, so we've put subordinating conjunctions on here because we were focusing on sentence starters, but also we need to see those coordinating ones as well, our fanboys. Using different synonyms for said, so we've been focusing recently on our speech, so think what other words are you going to use rather than they said. And then your reported clause, using it to advance the action in their speech. So what are those people doing at the time of speaking? Okay, and that will just help to make your writing more interesting. Make sure you've popped notes of each of these things on your plan. Okay, once you've got that plan, you should then just be able to write from it. You shouldn't have to think about what you want to put in each paragraph because it's on your plan already. Okay, so if you're going to use a different synonym for said, write it on there wherever you want to use it. Okay, if you're going to use a subordinating conjunction, think about which one are you going to use in which paragraph. If you're going to use fantastic, think about where are you going to talk about feelings, where are you going to talk about what you can see and notice. Okay, so make sure your plan is really detailed today, please. Once you've done it, if you could upload it to Edmodo so I can have a look before you start writing. So yeah, I can't wait to see those, and I will speak to you soon.